Ready? Okay, very good. Good evening and welcome to the Leon Valley City Council meeting. We're so glad so many of you could join us this evening. Today is Tuesday, June 19th, and all City Council members are present. We do have a quorum. It's approximately 12 minutes after 6. And if you'll please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Just a reminder, if you do have a cell phone, if you could please silence it, we'd greatly appreciate that. If there's no objections from my colleagues, I'd like to move the city manager's report first and then our presentations second. That's all right with everyone? Thank you. So with that said, I would please call on our city manager, Kelly Kinsler, to begin her city manager's report. Thank you, Ms. Kinsler, and good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. The first thing I'd like to do is start off by reading the budget schedule so you know what we have planned for the next 3 months. Our first budget meeting, it'll actually be our workshop, will be the first reading of the ordinance on July 17th at 5 o'clock in the evening. August the 7th, we're looking at a possible second budget workshop at 5 o'clock. August 21st, we will do the Crime Control and Prevention Board of Directors meeting at 5:30. And then we'll have a budget public hearing, which will be the second reading of the ordinance and the formal adoption of the budget and the meeting to discuss the tax rate. If the proposed tax rate exceeds the rollback or effective tax rate, whichever is lower, that'll happen at 6 p.m. So we'll have 5:30 to 6 will be crime control. September 4th, we'll have our first tax rate public hearing at 6 in the evening. September 11th will be our second tax rate public hearing, and then the first reading of the ordinance at 6 p.m. And then finally, on September 18th, the plan is to vote to adopt the proposed tax rate and the second reading of the ordinance for the budget. And we should hopefully by September 18th have a budget for the FY19 fiscal year.
Excellent. Thank you.
The council wanted to notify the public that the council has changed the date of the July coffee with the mayor and council from July 28th to July 21st. This coffee will be held from 9 in the morning to 11 in the morning at the conference center. One of the items at the coffee that the council would like to discuss based on input from citizens is the vetting of new ordinances. After that, we will continue the council manager retreat, and that will be from 11:30 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. I wanted to let everybody know that the library had to be closed down twice today due to their water being shut off. We're having issues there. The librarian posted the proper signage letting patrons know of the issue and that the library was temporarily closed. Want the council to know that you're going to be given 3 parking passes for the 4th of July event. If you need that many, if you don't need 3, then just let us know and we'll put less in your packet. Please remember that only those with the parking hangers from your rearview mirror are going to be allowed in the large parking lot next to the park. So I would ask you to please let Sandra know tonight how many you need so that as she's making your 4th of July packet, she can put them in there. No one, city manager, counselor, relative of counselor, etc., is going to be allowed to park in that area without your parking hanger. So we're going to enforce security, and we really you have to have those hangers, or you're going to be asked to leave and park somewhere else. We had issues with this last year, and we're going to have enough going on with the 4th of July with the new features that we have that we need to ensure that parking lot is safe and available for those with the hangers. So we certainly appreciate you letting Sandra whether or not you'll need the full 3 or less. At the request of Councilor Rodriguez, I have asked Sela Aquatics to put each of you on their distribution list for updates and emails that they send their pass holders. They have done that, so you all should now be on their distribution list and be kept in the loop regarding any type of media that they send out or newsletters that they send out for the summer. So thank you, Councilor Rodriguez, for that suggestion. Do we have Emma Wajardo in here? I see her. So in just a second, I'm going to ask you to come up, hon. On June 17th, we had about 20 young drivers that earned their driver's license for our Soapbox Derby, which is going to be held July 4th. And they did this by demonstrating a safe pass down Leon Valley's Derby Hill, which is down Evers Road from Hebner to Poss. The drivers and the Derby volunteers trained for 2 hours, and they had a lot of visitors, especially from the neighborhood, come out and watch the action. So next up, the entire team is going to practice on July the 1st from 6:30 to 8:30 in the morning on that same track to prepare for the big Soapbox Derby race on July the 4th. And I really want to thank the neighbors, up and along Evers Road, for being so kind and so patient and letting the kids travel down that street during that time frame, because we do have to close off the road temporarily, but it'll ensure a safe event for everybody. So in other Derby news, I would ask that Emma Wajardo, who's from here in Leon Valley, come up and meet me right here in the middle, along with both of the Bannises, please.
We're too big.
So everybody can hear.
Yeah.
So as you know, Chief Valdez from the fire department has been coordinating this Soapbox Derby event for us. And he learned that Emma, young Emma, 11 years old, had raised her own money to buy her own Soapbox Derby car in anticipation of the big July 4th race. So what we've done is we've immediately made qualifications or accommodations, and we qualified her to drive because we were not aware that she wanted to drive. We already had our cars and our drivers set. So we got that part fixed. She actually made several safe passes, so she has her Soapbox Derby driver's license. So congratulations, good job. We're excited. But the really neat thing is the community spirit and the inclusion of the Leon Valley businesses behind this Soapbox Derby race. The Bannises from Bannis Towing found out about Emma's Soapbox Derby car and that she had raised the money and bought it herself. And so first of all, the first thing they wanted to do, and that we want to do as the city of Leon Valley, is recognize Ms. Guajardo for her determination and her spirit and her drive. So good job.
Yes.
Good job. And yes, absolutely. Can you come up here for a minute? What I would like to know is how Ms. Guajardo raised her money for her Soapbox Derby car. Would you tell the city council?
Well, I started calling all of my family members that I'm really close to and asking them for donations.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I was done calling them, I started calling my friends and a lot of our neighbors from our street.
And how much were you able to raise?
So far, I've had about $400.
So she is raising money for her Soapbox Derby car. And at this time, I would like to turn the microphone over during the city manager's report and give a minute or two of my city manager's report with permission from the council to Mr.
Certainly.
Bannis.
Go right ahead.
Are you on?
Let's see.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to thank all of the sponsors and people that went out and worked for this. And we have a gentleman here that's wrapping her car. We want to thank all the sponsors, Benny and everybody up here at the city council, because without everybody working together, these kids wouldn't have a good time. So I want to give you something back. And the gentleman over here, Howard, is going to give you something too.
Oh, wow.
So what we've done is we've gotten with multiple businesses in Leon Valley and ourselves. And what we wanted to do is donate a check to you for $700 to cover the cost of your car.
Oh, that's beautiful.
When we found out how much work you put into it, and all these cars were sponsored but yourselves, you should not have to pay for your car. We wanted to make sure your car was sponsored for you. Also, with it needing to be wrapped and covered like everybody else's, I got with Texas Car Wraps. I got your design and I got it to him, and he marked up your design for you for your car. And he wanted to come here tonight to show you what your car would look like for you.
Oh,
Do you like it?
Let's see it.
oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's
Texas.
cute.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Awesome.
She drew her own design out how she wanted,
Uh-huh.
and he was able to make it happen for her exactly the way she liked it.
Oh, that's
Very nice.
wonderful.
Here's a check for you, young lady, made out to you. And you can use that to finish buying your car or put it in the bank for your college fund.
Give him a hug.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
So whenever the car comes in, just get with the chief and he'll get us, and we'll get the car over to him so you can get it covered up for her.
We're looking at Wednesday or Thursday.
And Miss Emma has something to say.
Thank you for donating the money. It's probably going to cover everything that I need for it, and for giving me my car up.
Oh, that's wonderful. Great.
Thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you. That was so kind. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bannis.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good luck. We'll be there to watch. Okay, Mayor, Council, to complete the city manager's report, upcoming important events, the next regularly scheduled council meeting is for July 17th, and that's the day that we will have the budget hearing. Depending on how many items we have pending in Excella, the mayor may call a special meeting on July 16th, which is the Monday before.
Could I just clarify? Is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
meeting at 5 p.m. or 5:30?
5 o'clock p.m. is when Vicki has it set for, because it's the budget. That's how she's done it in the past, but if you guys need to change it to 5:30, we can sure do that.
I know Mr. Martinez, is that,
That would be appreciated.
Change it to 5:30, we can do that. That's easy.
okay, thank you.
The library summer reading program kicked off Saturday, June 9th at 10:30 in the morning. As you know, swimming pools were open Memorial Day. You're now all on the distribution list, so you'll know what's going on with those two pools. The Historical Society's meet and greet, their quarterly meet and greet, is June 21st at the library. There's not a time for that.
6:30.
6:30 p.m. The next impound law auction is scheduled for June 28th at 9 at the Conference Center. The Library Board of Trustees meeting has been canceled for the month of July. The regular City Council meeting that was scheduled for July 3rd has been canceled. City Hall will be closed in observance of Independence Day, July 4th, but of course we'll really all be across the way with all the various activities that we have going on, which include the Pioneer Firecracker Fun Run Walk, 7:30 in the morning, the parade at 9:30, the Soapbox Derby races at 11. The festival begins at Raymond Rimkus Park from 5 until 10:30. The fireworks spectacular will happen around dusk. Committee meetings for June, the Pool Advisory Committee met last night. The Police Advisory Committee will meet tomorrow night, and the Zoning Commission meeting will meet June 26th at 7 o'clock p.m. right here in these chambers. And with that, I would stand for questions.
Thank you very much. I just had a question about the library closing today because of the water. Did that have anything to do with our construction on Evers Road?
No, ma'am, not that I'm aware of.
Thank you. Just wanted to be sure. Okay, any questions for the manager on her report? Okay, seeing no one, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Really do
Thank you.
appreciate that. Then we will move then to presentations. Agenda item number 2.1, monthly financial report, May 2018. We have Vicki Wallace, our finance director, here to present. Good evening, Ms. Wallace, and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Yes.
This is our monthly financial report for the month of May. According to all the rules, and we should be at 66.6%, so that's the first thing that we kind of look at. I want to report that sales tax still continues to trend up. For the month of May, it was up 2.61%. You can see the franchise fees are down, and again, that's partly because of the CPS payment that we've talked about. How's that? You're good. The franchise fees, of course, are going to continue to be down until we hit the end of the fiscal year, and we actually do that accrual back for the CPS fees. The big thing that stands out in revenue as far as general fund is the license permits, fines, and fees, which in part is due to the impound lot and the red light camera, and I'll get to another slide for that in a minute. As far as expenditures, there's only a few that we're looking at closely, but they've got it under control, which is the business officer at 68%, which is not something I'm really concerned about. The fire department's at 68%, and it's something that he already knows about, and he's going to take care of it. And the rest of it, I don't really see any problems with that whatsoever as far as expenditures in the general fund.
Right. Can I just make that sales tax looks like it's not tracking, but it is because it's only 4 months, right? 4 or 5?
That is correct.
Right.
Yeah, because
So I just
October and November is always accrued back because October is for August and November is for the month of September. And
But
we accrue it back.
Overall, how much are we up for the year?
61%.
2.61%. Okay,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
As of May. And
As
then
of
when
May.
we get to the next month, it's even better.
Okay, great, thank you. Always good news.
Water and sewer,
Mhm.
again, last year at this time, we've talked about the revenues and how that's hitting, and we were at 1.27, and we're at 1.26.
Mhm.
So we're down a little bit. We're at 63%, 64%. So we're still watching and monitoring that very carefully. That's one of the things that you sometimes you can't control, what the weather does and how people conserve.
Mhm.
That's one of the caveats of water. Same thing with electricity. As far as their expenditures, everything that they have is tracking really well, their expenditures. Community Center Fund, here's the one thing that I had talked about before, that I was worried about the hotel tax, and I said when we got to May, it was going to straighten itself out. So as you can see, this same time last year, we were at 31,000. We're at now 43. So that is for the quarter that ended in March. So we won't see a change in that until end of July, when they have to pay the next quarter, which ends in June. But right now, we're doing great in hotel tax. As far as the rental fees, they're looking a little bit better than what they were. They're still not where we would like them to be, but you can see last year for the community center, they were at 30, we're at 25. We're still down, but it's a lot better than what it was. And the conference center is now up to 16, which if you remember was really low at one point in time. So it's starting to look a little bit better than what it did.
And I was just going to ask you on the expenditure, were we able to replace the air conditioning unit?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
that's within that expenditure
Yes.
figure?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. It is
Very
done.
good.
Yeah. We'll
All
work
right,
on that.
thank you.
And so for the economic and community development, now the major part of this, it is in the general fund, but we pulled this slide out separately so you can see it. So as you can see, their sales tax is the same as the general fund. We're 2 months behind because of the way we accrue it. And so they're at 147,884. Their expenditures are at 68,308. And so the main things that they've funded as far as project funding would be they gave Northside sports signs. They funded 32.5 for the 4th of July, 15,000 for the historical, and for the Slack Monster they funded. So those are the only projects that they've really funded so far. Red light cameras. of course, we have nothing to compare it to as far as 18. So the only thing I'm reporting to you is what the actual is in 18. And so as of May, we have revenue of 533,102. But what I want to remind you of is a portion of this goes to the state.
Right. And actually, this is just a very small amount, because didn't we start like in March?
Yes.
So it's
We-
March,
Yes.
mid-March to now, to the end of May is what
Correct.
this reflects. Okay, very good. So one half of the 533 goes to the state.
Well, not one half of that. It would be after the administrative costs that we have to
Okay.
run the program, then the state gets a half of that.
Okay,
And
that's
then the
right.
other half of that, we have to use to fund our traffic safety program.
Right. That's the tier 2.
Yes, ma'am. Tier 1 is the actual administrative cost of the program, and Tier 2 is our traffic safety program.
Okay.
Expenditures, and then I broke it down by expenditures for Tier 1 and for Tier 2. We've not paid, again, I want to bring this up because we've not got an invoice yet from ATS, so that's not factored into this yet. So when you look at that, that's a bit, I would say, a little distorted because we don't have that yet. So when it looks like our expenditures are low, they're not going to be, because when those invoices hit, that's going to change that quite a bit.
When do you expect to get that invoice?
Joe, within the next, because they had called, or David had asked me about it, and I said, no, I've not received any, so he made a phone call, and that was last week we talked about it. So I can't imagine them waiting much longer to give us an invoice.
Okay. All right, so we should see it possibly in the next monthly report?
Hoping.
Okay.
I would think that they would want to get it paid. However, we only have, we've already done our AP for this week, so we only have one more AP next week for the month of June. So after that, then it would fall into July.
Okay, all right. And would that be for all of the months or just?
Yeah, all the
Okay, all
months.
of the months they'll bill us. Okay.
I mean, if we owe it, I want to pay it. I
Sure.
want them to bill us for
Yeah,
whatever we owe
exactly.
from the beginning until whatever the current period is.
Okay, very good. Okay, very good.
And so then for the impound lot, we have 109,993 as far as revenue from impounds, and then from auction 63,090. And then we have, of course, your personnel, supplies, contractual, which amounts to 76,827.
And again, is this from the fiscal year 10-1, this budget?
Yes.
10-1,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Unlike the red light cameras, which was just March.
Correct.
So if we took the total revenues and we minus the expenditures, that's going to be our difference that we have in the general fund. Is that correct?
Right now, yes.
Right now,
Right,
through May.
through May.
Through May. So it's 10/1/17 through 5/31/18.
Correct.
Very good. I just want to make a note of that. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yes, are there any questions on the impound lot, red light cameras, ED fund? Because these are these special funds that we wanted to look at on a monthly basis.
Right.
All right, very good.
And so the last thing I want to remind everyone that if they want to see any of these financial reports, if they have this slide, or they can go to our website, but you can just click on that link and it'll take you straight to any financial, take you to the CAFR, take you to some other financial information as far as tax rates, historical on that, sales tax rates, and take you to all the financial reports.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right. Appreciate it, Vicki, and we'll see you next month. All right. So our next presentation is Economic and Community Development Advisory Committee Annual Report. We have Joseph Nazaroff, the chairman of that committee.
Yeah,
Good evening,
everybody,
Joseph,
Mayor,
and
City
welcome.
Council members, and
Really-
members of the audience.
Yes, good to see you.
Thank you. This is the first time I've done this, so if I get a little erratic, let me know. As you know, last year, the citizens of Leon Valley decided to not necessarily dissolve the Economic Development Board Corporation, but they renamed it or restructured it. And on April 18th of last year, this council has authorized an Economic Development Advisory Committee. So we became an advisory committee versus a board. And our duties are similar, and I believe because of that, it's the best of two worlds. The city obtains greater control of the 1/8 sales tax revenue, and also the advisory committee has a better control of generating applicants and make sure that the money is spent according to the wishes of the taxpayers. So that I've been very proud of what we've been doing this last year. And I'll just give you an overview of what we've done. This is not in any kind of sequential order. So we continue to provide the 50% reimbursement for signage on approved projects, providing all the documentation is correct and verifiable. So that's something we continue to do. We have funded every year since I've been doing this, the 4th of July event, and this year is no exception. One of the good things I think we've done is that we allocated $6,000 in forgivable loans to the businesses that were displaced at the Seneca Plaza Strip Center over here. And so we projected 10 applicants would be moving their business from that strip center. As long as they move it into Leon, continue to operate here in Leon Valley, we would do that forgivable loan up to $6,000 per applicant.
And how many did we end up having?
I think 4. 2?
4. 2.
2.
So we funded the 10. I think it was 60,000. So we've only actually expended 12,000.
I think, yeah, we received
Okay.
4 applicants, but I believe only 2 actually
Okay.
relocated or stayed in Leon Valley if that fit.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. And then we allocated $15,000 for planning fees for the Samaritan properties that's owned by the city, and in order to make it sellable. And so that's something that is good that what we've done. Then recently we funded the breakfast that's being provided by UTSA Small Business Development Network at $1,500 each, and we're funding 3 of them, so it's $4,500, and that's supposed to happen rather quickly, and I'm looking forward to that. And the goal is to bring brand new businesses into Leon Valley, and I think it's going to be something that's worthwhile and it's worth doing. And I think initially we were meeting as needed, but now it's no less than quarterly. And so we continue to do things, and we have an active committee, and it's been enjoyable. And the last thing that we did that is fun was that we helped sponsor the Soapbox Derby car number 52. So that's my report. It's not 10 minutes, but I'd be glad to answer anything that you like.
Okay, who's car number 52? Who's car number 52?
It's the cities.
Oh, it's the city.
When was Leon Valley established?
Oh, hello. Have you said 1952? I might have, but 52? Okay.
I think
So
that's
car
what
number
the
52 is the city's car. Okay.
Correct, yeah.
Did y'all
I think
know
we
that, or am I
partially
just
sponsored it.
Okay.
I was in the dark
Okay.
of that.
You were in the dark too. Okay, good. All right. Very good. All right. Anything else?
Any questions I can answer?
Yes, we actually have on the consent agenda this evening, Mr. Nazaroff, to approve that $4,500 expenditure for
good.
the
And we were talking
breakfasts.
about some projects at the silo property, and we haven't, it's not been finalized for us yet. We're not clear what needs to be done. I think that's also being presented this evening.
You're right. It is being presented this evening, and then during that July 11th meeting, we're going to bring that project back to you with Melinda Moritz as a presenter, so you get the history of it.
Okay.
And then we would have the second reading after your meeting. That way we could give the council your recommendation if it changed.
Very well.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, and it's been a wonderful time doing this, and I appreciate it.
Well, great. Thank you for your service. We do
Thank you.
appreciate your volunteer spirit as long and the rest of your committee. Please share with them our appreciation.
I'm going to take full credit.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, great. Thank you, sir. All right. All right. Agenda item number 4, citizens to be heard. As a result of the limited number of meetings of City Council this summer and the agenda being so large, I've instituted a sign-in sheet for citizens to be heard. Priority shall be given to the citizens of Leon Valley, the business owners, and our vendors. This sign-in sheet will help facilitate that priority. I thank each and every one of you for your understanding of the reason for the sign-in sheet. Also, if you want to be heard, we are live streaming this City Council meeting, and you may ask questions via your computer to this council. So, with that said, I would like to call on Jason Banis. Is he still here, or did he leave? He had signed in. Did he want to? Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Wade. And Joseph Nazareth, we just heard from him. Irene Baldridge, who lives on Parsley Hill. Not at this time, okay. And Richard Blackmore, did you have something? Not at this time, okay, thank you. And I believe Jonathan Keller, you're here this evening, right? Is Mr. Keller here? He's outside, but okay, that's okay. We will call him at his particular agenda item. That's okay, Mr. Keller. You just had signed the sheet, so I just wanted to recognize that you were here and that you will be able to speak when it comes to your agenda item. Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. No, we put you at the beginning of regular agenda 8, number 1. We didn't want you to wait. Okay, thank you. All right. With that said, then we will move to announcements by the mayor and city council members. Let me start with David Edwards, our counselor, at the end. Do you have any announcements this evening?
Nothing this evening.
All right. And Counselor Catherine Rodriguez?
Just wanted to thank everybody for coming out and nothing else. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Monica Alcacer?
I have a few things there. They keep calling me for blood donations, and I'm going to go later this week because I saw in the news that a 93-year-old woman is donating every 2 months. So if she can do it, the rest of us can do it too.
I hate needles. Oh.
It doesn't make any difference.
Oh,
People need it.
I know.
The next thing is I did go to got up early Sunday and went to the Derby races.
Oh, did you?
It was wonderful.
Great.
And I did see Little Emma racing. I also saw the last race that little boy in the Leon Valley car crashed and damaged the car, but Bannis Towing stepped right in and the others marked it and it'll be ready. But it was really nice to see, and for me it was particularly nice to see all the girls out. And I actually think the girls were on the whole racing better than the boys, so we'll see how it goes. While I was there, I met a man who travels about in a wheelchair. He had one of the children there too, who did very well, and he wanted me to pass a message to Miss Moritz, and the trail at the park is in need. He has extreme difficulty getting his wheelchair around the park when he's trying to walk with his family.
Okay.
And I also would like to commend Melinda on the exercise equipment. I went by and tried out one of them, and it was a disaster.
In Raymond Rimkus Park or another
No, not in
park?
Raymond Rinkus Park. I did the Ridge Park.
The Ridge, okay.
And that's the only thing there. And
It was
it's
a
very challenging, to say the least. I did fairly well on one of the 8 items, and almost nil on most of the others. On what we used to call the monkey bars, I did get 2 before I jumped off. But I recommend, I have a long way to go. I recommend you get out there and try, see how good you are. And finally, my favorite thing, be good and kind to one another. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Counselor Martinez, Benny Martinez.
Next weekend, starting at noon Saturday and going through noon on Sunday, ham radio operators around the world will get together, what they call Field Day. There's 2 clubs that are going to be operating. The club I belong to, Alamo Area Radio Organization, will be set up at the American Legion Post on Grossenbacher out I-90. We'll be operating there. And another club here in town, San Antonio Radio Organization, will set up at in front of Chavano Park's police station. So if you want to see what ham radio is about and you want to, come and see it, a lot of the clubs will have free food. But if you want to talk on the radio, they'll let you talk. You never know. You may make contacts around the world. But it's a fun event. So if you want to come out there and enjoy a little bit and learn a little bit about amateur radio, feel free. Thank you.
You're welcome. Counselor David Jordan.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last week, I attended the Citizens Emergency Response Team training, which had to do with the psychological well-being of the responders. It was great training. It was Bear County and Alamo area CERT team. It was a great training, and actually we have one here in Leon Valley. I think Assistant Chief Wade is in charge of that. So we need volunteers in the event the emergency happens and all the other responders are tied up. We could use your assistance. So if you consider doing something like that, let Chief Wade know, and he'll be able to get you the information. But
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I just had a few things. You mentioned Sela Aquatics. I want to encourage, if you're not a member, become a member. If you'd like to do water aerobics, I saw Dave Demeline there today at the Forest Oaks pool. I said, thank goodness he didn't see me in my bathing suit. And I had no makeup on. But anyway, it's a fun time. And it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 9. And it's run by David Wendt, who is the manager, and he does an excellent job. And the class is growing. So I wanted to just mention that. And then also congratulations to our Leon Valley Fire Department for organizing, and then the participation of all of our citizens on the MPO Walk and Roll Challenge. We are an award winner, runner-up in one of the categories, and I can't remember, Chief, what the category was. I know Lisa would know. But anyway, it's just, excuse me? I'll get our host. Okay, you'll get our host. And Lisa organized it on computer. I don't know if y'all got the emails. Lisa, we got the runner-up in what category? Best organized walk and run. So what we're trying to do in May was trying to reduce our carbon footprint by walking, biking, carpooling, and we did an excellent job. So thanks to the city for the leadership and showing the way to the county. You bet. And last but not least, we had an excellent board retreat last Saturday, and I want to thank my colleagues for being open and trying to work together. We are working together to move the city forward, so I do appreciate your time that you gave. All right, so with that, yes.
Yes, Mayor, one more item. I wanted to let everybody know that we have a new PhD in our Leon Valley family.
Oh, yes.
I would like Dr. Crystal Caldera to stand up, please.
Way to go, Crystal.
Several of us got to watch her defend a week or so ago. I'm sure she remembers to the date and minute. But I'm extremely proud of her working full-time, having a young child that she's an excellent mother to, and in addition to that, being an excellent student and earning her PhD is quite the accomplishment. So I'm extremely proud of her and wanted to make sure that you all knew.
Thank you for that. I'm so glad that we remembered. Thank you and congratulations, Crystal. All right, then we'll move to the consent agenda. Is there any of the consent agenda items 1, 2, or 3 that the counselors would like to remove for discussion? Seeing no one moving to remove, yes. May I have a motion?
Accept them as presented.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Jordan to approve the consent agenda items as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Then moving on to agenda item number 7, which is our second readings of the ordinances that we took up at the last meeting. Ms. Pasale, would you please read ordinance number 7.1?
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas City Council authorizing a budget adjustment in the amount of $285,000 to the fiscal year 2017-2018 stormwater. Excuse me, my computer just went out.
Uh-oh. Would you? Oh, no. You've got the ordinance. I've just got the agenda item.
Yes, ma'am.
So I can't.
Since I'm
I can't
streaming,
help
I want to
you.
get my computer working.
I was going to say I'll continue to read it for you, but.
I don't know if it's still recording. Hopefully it is. I'll continue.
Yes, please.
Might just be my laptop. Stormwater fund balance to provide funding for a flood control feasibility study with Hebner Creek, authorizing the city manager to execute agreements with the United States Army Corps of Engineers and San Antonio River Authority for the feasibility study of Hebner Creek, providing for repealer, severability, and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Ms. Moritz, is there any new information the council needs to know about from the last reading?
No, ma'am, but you did ask at the last meeting what the fund balance was, so I did
Yes.
put in your M&C that it's about $1 million.
About $1 million in the
Stormwater fund.
Fund. Okay. Thank you.
I move that we approve it as presented.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Martinez to approve ordinance number 7.1 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Moving then to ordinance number 7.2. Ms. Posley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas, City Council accepting the lowest responsive bid and awarding a contract in the amount of $605,564 with 15% for contingency to Gilbert's Utility and Concrete for purpose of constructing the Cades Cove Water and Sewer Mains Project, providing for repealer, severability, and savings clauses, and for providing an effective date.
Thank you. We have Assistant Public Works Director Dave Demeline here to present. Is there any additional information that the council needs to know?
No, Mayor. We made a revision to the caption,
Okay.
but that was the only change.
Okay.
It was just to clean that up a little bit, we were basically eliminated the not to exceed amount.
Not to exceed. Okay.
Because it's a
Very
low
good.
bid.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the pleasure of the council, please.
I move that we approve item 7.2 as written, including that little change.
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Rodriguez to approve ordinance number 7.2 as presented with the one change. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Moving then to ordinance number 7.3. Ms. Posley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, City Council accepting the lowest responsive bid and awarding a contract in the amount of $115,770.53 to Seiko Electric and Utility Limited with 15% for contingency for the purpose of constructing a new traffic signal system at Wurzbach and Exchange Parkway, providing for repealer, severability, and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. We have Mr. Demeline back again. Is there any additional changes or corrections to this ordinance?
We don't have any changes.
All right. Very good.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this ordinance as read.
Okay.
A second.
All right. We have a motion by Councilor Jordan and a second by Councilor Alcacer to approve ordinance number 7.3 as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Moving then to ordinance number 7.4. Ms. Posley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas, City Council authorizing acceptance of the Southwest Texas Regional Advisory Council, STRAC, reimbursement in the amount of $3,000 for reimbursement to the City of Leon Valley for funds expended related to personnel and equipment, authorizing a fiscal year 2017-2018 general fund budget adjustment in the amount of $3,000, providing for repealer, severability, and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Okay. Thank you. And do we have Chief Valdez here this evening? That's going to, okay. Or Captain Wade or anybody?
Anyone?
Hello?
Yeah, didn't somebody else present?
Yeah, unless somebody else can present. Unless Fire Marshal Burnside, could you, we just wanted to see if there was anything, any addition to this?
There were no additions,
Okay.
Council and Mayor.
All right, very good. Hearing no additions, Chief Valdez? All right, then may I have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept it as presented.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilor Martinez and a second by Councilor Rodriguez to approve agenda item number 7.4 as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Thank you. Then moving then to agenda item number 7.5. Ms. Posley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas, City Council amending general fund of the City of Leon Valley, Texas municipal budget for fiscal year 2017-2018 in the amount of $25,577 and the police forfeiture fund in the amount of $36,985 to provide proper funding for the police department, the impound lot, and photographic traffic control system programs, and accept an NRA grant of $2,385, providing for repealer, severability, and savings clause, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you very much. Chief Joe Salvaggio, is there any additions or corrections to this ordinance? All right.
I'd like to make a motion we approve this ordinance as presented.
All
I
right.
second.
All right, we have a motion by Counselor Jordan and a second by Counselor Alcacer to approve ordinance number 7.5 as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Thank you, Chief.
Mayor, Council, thank you.
You bet. Moving then to regular agenda item 8, regular agenda number 8, 7.1. These are our first readings for those of you that are new to our meeting. This is our first reads, and this is where we get all of the information and we get the input from our staff, counselors' questions, and any citizen input. If you'd like to add anything to the agenda item, just please raise your hand and we'll call on you. So we have Ms. Postlew, if you'll please read the ordinance, 8.1.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas, City Council granting a specific use permit for motorcycle sales, repair, and service at 5405 Bandera Road, Suite 117, being approximately 5,250 square feet within Lot 1, Block 4, West Loop Park subdivision, generally located on the north side of Bandera Road, approximately half-mile east of Northwest Loop 410, providing for repealer, severability, and savings clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. And we have Community Development Director Brad Milan here to present. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This is a request for a specific use permit for motorcycle sales at 5405 Bandera Road, Suite 117. This is the office park that is generally located on the north side of Bandera Road. It is directly next to the West Loop Office Park, which itself is directly east of HEB. And I'll get to the maps here in just a minute. As you know, in our city's code, our city zoning code, we have standard zoning districts. We have our standard residential districts, standard commercial districts. And within those districts, there are certain uses that are allowed by right. And also within those districts, there are certain uses that may be allowed by specific use permit if approved by the City Council. And so in this case, the property is zoned B3, and it does allow for some types of commercial uses like auto repair by right, but it does not allow for motorcycle sales by right, but it does allow for motorcycle sales with a specific use permit. Okay. So that's what our applicant is intending to do. He is here with us this evening.
Mr. Keller.
And so the applicant's the owner of K&M Cycle. He currently is located at 5419 Bandera Road in the office park just to the west. And he came before the City Council just over a year ago to request the same request, a specific use permit, so he could perform motorcycle sales at that location. But he's planning to move to a larger site just to the east, and because specific use permits don't transfer with the business, they stay with the land, he has to make the same request this evening.
Okay.
So with specific use permits, there are certain things that staff looks at in their review. We look at higher level concerns. We also look at technical concerns. So regarding the higher level concerns, we look at conformance with the comprehensive land use plan. In this case, the comprehensive plan discusses the need to make sure that commercial uses do not abut residential uses, and in certain cases making sure that we have proper buffering. So we looked at that. The comprehensive plan calls for this area to be commercial, and there are no abutting residential uses. The nearest residential uses are located about 450, 500 feet to the east. And we also look at existing uses and existing zoning. So the uses to the north, I'll go ahead and go to my map here. There's an existing zoning map, so this whole entire area is generally zone B3. We have a little bit of B2 here, and then you have your residential uses to the east. And so, to the north, you have Daughtry Road and Evers Road, and there's a middle school north of the site. Property to the south, you have Intertech to the south. You have industrial zoning. And to the east, you have additionally more commercial. And to the west, you also have more commercial. So generally, what's surrounding the property is consistent with commercial uses. Regarding technical considerations, there's really three things that staff was concerned with looking at: traffic impact, parking, and noise. As far as traffic impact, our code requires the middle of a traffic impact analysis to show that you're not meeting any thresholds that would warrant additional traffic analysis. We determined there was not a need to take a closer look at that. Regarding parking, there's substantial parking at the location, at the property. There's about 30 spaces directly adjacent to this particular suite, which you can see here. There's properties lined with parking, so there's about 30 spaces just adjacent to the property, or to that particular tenant suite. Code requires 30 spaces, so we think that parking is fine. So really the primary consideration we were looking at was noise. Our city does have a noise ordinance that has particular time frames, requires noise to be kept under, I think, 0.75 decibels. And so we have separate noise regulations that govern that, so there isn't a need to write that into this particular consideration. So the noise is really two factors: noise potentially produced by the business and noise produced by customers. And so, like I said, we have an ordinance that looks at noise by the business, and as far as noise produced by customers, we talked extensively at the zoning commission meeting about that and determined that the effective way to regulate that is by regulating business hours. So with that, staff recommends approval of this request, subject to the conditions passed along, conditions for recommendation passed on by the zoning commission, which were generally consistent with staff's original recommendations. And those conditions are included in your staff report. And those conditions are no operations may occur outside the building, including operating, testing, monitoring of motorcycles or other vehicles. No outside storage. Limiting business hours from 8 to 6 Monday through Friday and 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturdays. And that the specific use permit, the ordinance, limit this use to the specific tenant suite indicated in the site plan. And with that, that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions, and our applicant is here this evening.
Yes, very good. All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Keller, if you'd like to come up and introduce yourself. And let me ask my colleagues, are there any questions for Community Development Director Milan or Jonathan Keller? And would you like to say something on your application?
Pretty well stated just about everything that need to be said.
Okay.
Like you said, zoning went pretty long-winded. It was about hour and a half, 2 hours talking at that point. If you guys want to know any of that information, I'll be glad to answer it. As for the record, Jonathan Keller and K&M Cycle, and it's also another DBA's Black Widow Power Sports. But
very good. Well, we have a question from Councilor
I have a
Monica
few
Alcacer.
questions, Mr. Keller. You've done, I guess, very well since you were here a year ago.
I've worked my butt off.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Well, what the difference between last year and this year is a larger location and a slightly different location.
Well, I've also added on sort of investor, so to speak. Granted, it's my father-in-law, but he wanted to be able to invest into the business, and the only way that it could grow is to take on cars as well as motorcycles. So we added on the automotive dyno to go along with the motorcycle, and that's part of the reason for the increase in space. And there's just more money to be had there, so might as well go after it.
Okay. Are you open on Saturdays presently?
I am appointment only on Saturdays presently, and that's based on whether I feel like doing it or not.
Okay, because I noticed in your application you didn't ask for it, and yet the zoning.
Yeah, we left an opening there because, I mean, this is just a starting point to grow from. So hopefully I'll be growing in that direction, and we'll see how many employees I'm able to obtain and bump out as many machines as I can.
And I was curious that a couple of the zoning commissioners who had approved it last year weren't as agreeable this year. Do you have any
I think
idea?
it was a matter of the details, not necessarily the overall thing, but I didn't get to ask them individually why. So everything ended pretty quickly after that. So
Okay.
that was my suspicion. But,
okay, so just they maybe wanted more details or something, but
I think maybe one or two of them didn't like that there was any restrictions being mentioned at all, and that may be a reason for the no, or maybe they wanted more. I don't know which.
all right, there's no way to guess. All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Yes, Councilor Martinez.
When are you planning on opening at this new location?
I would love to open by the end of the month, but I still got an issue of getting a fan on the roof that can flow the needed amount of air. So it's going to be dependent upon when that can get up there.
Because we won't hear this again till the 17th of July.
17th of July, yes,
So,
sir. We have a second reading.
you won't be able to get your permit till then.
Maybe things have changed since I recall of last year. Well,
things have
as soon
changed.
as I'm allowed to.
Things have changed because now we have to have 2 readings. So
Right.
this is the first reading of this ordinance.
Okay,
And
so
next month,
because of
the 4th of July or the 3rd of July, we canceled that
Yes.
council meeting.
Okay.
That's when we would have had the normal second reading. And the only thing we can possibly do is if we do have the meeting,
On
the
the
previous,
16th,
the
yeah.
16th, that could
We'll
help.
let you know.
Okay. All right.
Definitely. Okay, thank you very much. Councilor Jordan.
Yes, sir. Where and when do you do your testing for your motorcycles?
Currently, there's I've changed the purpose of one of the rooms within the suite. That room is 1,000 square feet. I have lined both walls, or all the walls in there, with sound-absorbing material, doubled the thickness of the wall to the adjacent unit. I've also tested how much sound is going through that wall. The initial construction plan was for 60 decibel reduction. It's exceeded that, so it's able to reduce what I thought was possible. So, but the doors to the back of that are still going up. I just got Friday, I think, is when that came in to be able to bolt the doors down and whatnot. So getting electrical turned back on because they stopped that momentarily. And I should be able to finish up that and have all testing will be happening within that portion of the 1,000 square feet as far as full throttle, sort of testing, and then the rest of the suite. I'm not sure whether it's going to be 3 or 4 lifts in the back yet. I'm trying to figure out what's going to fit, but I currently have one, and probably later on I'll add the other ones down the road for all the repairs that go along with the testing. So.
Okay, so there's no testing done outside the facility, like on any of the main highways, Bandera or 410?
No,
Or?
In the motorcycle aspect of things, I haven't been doing that other than just, making sure that everything rolls fine. No, no sort of quarter-mile testing of any sort. I know some other people in this type of business have done those sort of things, and I try to stay as far away from that as possible because it's dangerous. I don't want to get injured. I don't want other people to get injured, and I don't want to encourage any of that. That's why I bought the first dyno in the first place. So.
Right. I live about 410 in Bandera, and every night about 10 o'clock I hear high-performance motorcycles being tested and raced.
I'm off of 1604, and I'm easily a mile from the highway, and I can still hear. I usually hear cars more than bikes, but I've heard them
Okay. All right, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I was
Yes,
just
Councilor
curious,
Rodriguez.
The fan that you're planning or anticipating putting in, is that going to take care of the emissions since everything will be inside?
That's going to get all the exhaust out.
That's what we figured.
As far as I've had, let's see, is he still out there? Eric, as far as Fire Marshal, I've been working in conjunction with him. As far as code, I believe it's somewhere around 5,000 cubic feet per minute is what is required for what I'm doing. I haven't sourced the fan yet, but my intent is 20,000 plus.
Okay.
So it will more than amply exhaust the room, but I'm more concerned with cooling ability than just exhaust. So I want that much to flow in to cool it, so I got to be able to get that much out because it ain't going through the walls.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, any questions from our citizens this evening on this particular agenda item? Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Keller. We will let you know when the second reading will be. It'll either be July 16th or 17th.
Okay.
And as you saw earlier, we pretty well, unless there's a change, we pretty well tend to approve those ordinances as presented. So, all right, thank you very much. Do appreciate it. All right, take care. Moving then to regular agenda item number 8.2. Ms. Posley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas City Council amending Article 6.05 of the Leon Valley City Code of Ordinances to entitled Smoking Regulations to increase the age for sale of tobacco products to 21 years of age, amending Section 6.05.007 to Section 6.05008, establishing enforcement authority, establishing penalties and fines for violations, providing for publication, providing for repealer, severability, and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. And we have Mario Martinez from the City of San Antonio here to present. Thank you and welcome back. We all met you at the coffee on April 27th, I think, where you presented this to the citizens and we wanted to present this to the council. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Council.
Good
For
evening.
this opportunity.
You bet.
So some background on tobacco use. We know that tobacco is the leading cause of preventable disease, disability, and death in the United States. Every year, nearly 2,100 young people under the age of 21 become daily cigarette users. And nicotine is highly addictive and can rewire the teen brain and can be easily addictive to them and later becoming more addictive to other drugs as they get older. Since the mid-1990s, we have seen declines in daily use of cigarettes among middle school and high school youth. So that is good news. What you see here is a chart that goes up to 2015. But just last week, we did receive information that the trend continues to decline to 2017. So that is good news. However, our concern is now with the e-cigarette use. And so as you can see here, from 2011 to about 2015, the growth in e-cigarette youth among middle school and high school age youth is increasing. So that's a concern right now, not just at the local level, again, state, and also at the national level, we're seeing similar trends. When it comes to teens and e-cigarettes, teens are more likely to use e-cigarettes rather than cigarettes. And what we're seeing among our middle school all the way through high school is that growing trend or percentage of students who are using both cigarettes and e-cigarettes, but more so with e-cigarettes. The National Institutes of Health estimate that about 31% of teens who use e-cigarettes will most likely start smoking tobacco within 6 months. When asked what do teens say what's in their e-cigarettes, by far the majority say that they believe that it's just flavoring. And if you don't know about e-cigarettes and what's available, there are different flavors for different liquids in e-cigarettes, like cotton candy, watermelon, cherry, strawberry. So these are things that are enticing to young people. Only 13% of our young people in this particular survey said that they knew there was nicotine in the product, but again, the far majority say they don't know. They believe it's just the flavoring. So why raise the age? So for the reasons I just pointed out, but also looking at the fact that 95% of adult smokers began smoking before they turned 21. And while only 2% of the tobacco sold that is purchased by 18 to 20-year-olds, that 2% equates to 90% of the tobacco that is provided to teens across the nation. And that's the trend that we're seeing, not just in major cities on the East Coast, the West Coast, but even in cities like San Antonio and across the state of Texas. So increasing the sale age to 21 is a public health solution. First, it delays the age of first tobacco use and reduces the risk of them becoming regular smokers. And it does help to keep tobacco out of schools. We know that 18 to 20-year-olds do have relationships with high school students, and if they're tobacco users, they are likely to share that with a middle school or high school student. The other is younger teens will have a harder time passing themselves off as someone who's 21 years of age. Tobacco 21 is already in place in 290 plus cities and counties and 19 states across the U.S. Approximately 25% of the U.S. population is covered by some type of a city, county, or state law. And on Texas, San Antonio, City San Antonio is the first city to have a Tobacco 21 ordinance. Last year, we conducted a survey across the San Antonio area where we had 5,400 individuals respond to our Tobacco 21 survey. We asked the question, do you believe that the minimum tobacco sales age should be raised from 18 to 21? The majority, in this case 78% of the respondents said yes. So they agreed with our recommendation to our City Council. And in addition to the resident support, we also have support from several organizations and institutions in our community. UT Health Science Center, the Bexar County Medical Society, American Heart Association, American Cancer Association, and several other well-known institutions that were very supportive of this when we were presenting it before the City San Antonio Council, City Council. In regards to our timeline, it took approximately 4 months from the initial introduction of the Tobacco 21 initiative to our city leaders and community leaders to the passage of the Tobacco 21 ordinance on January 11th of this year. So currently, the City of San Antonio, with some partners, we're working on educating retailers and also the community members on the Tobacco 21 initiative. With the effective date for the ordinance is October 1st of this year. Our Tobacco 21 ordinance is similar to Texas law. There's a few differences. So the age group, when we look at state law, it addresses the purchase, use, and possession for those under 18. Under the City of San Antonio ordinance, we cover ages 18 to 20. In regards to tobacco retailers, under Texas law, a violation of the sale is a misdemeanor, and there's a maximum fine of up to $500. The city ordinance mirrors state law in this regard, with the difference of just raising the age restriction from 18 to 21. In regards to youth, which is purchase, use, and possession, Texas law does have enforcement violation of youth who are found to either purchase, use, or possess tobacco product is a misdemeanor with the maximum fine of $250. In the City of San Antonio ordinance, we do not have an enforcement piece for this. And this is the direction we've received from our mayor and city council. They pointed out social justice concerns with minority youth in our community. This is a part of the ordinance that actually is reflective of other major cities that had Tobacco 21 ordinances, and they had that removed. It was still an effective ordinance in their communities. The City of San Antonio Tobacco 21 ordinance covers several types of tobacco products, and including electronic smoking devices and liquids as well. What it does not cover, it includes drugs, devices, or combination products authorized for sale as tobacco cessation aids by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, such as nicotine patches. So again, those type of products are not covered by the City of San Antonio ordinance. So for enforcement, again, the effective date within the City of San Antonio is October 1st of this year, led by the Health Department. We will have our health inspectors be the enforcement piece for the Tobacco 21, where they will verify the signage and also employee acknowledgement forms during annual routine inspections, very similar to state law with the Texas Comptroller's Office. Beginning January of 2019, we will have unannounced compliance decoy visits. Those will be done random selection of retailers within the City of San Antonio. And so we expect to do about 100 decoy visits every year. So that way it's a part of the enforcement piece that was also found to be effective in other major cities across the U.S. That concludes my presentation on Tobacco 21. Be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Yes, Councilor Rodriguez.
I know years back when I was employed with the City of San Antonio in the Youth Services Division, we used to, when a juvenile was charged with a minor in possession, they would have to go through counseling services. Now, what I was noticing is that going to stand? Would that still be something like that be valid once that takes effect here, or if it does in Leon Valley?
So our ordinance does not include an enforcement piece for young people, and we've had that question from the community. We're not going to be looking for individuals who are, smoking or having possession. The kind of the center of the ordinance is around the sale and distribution of tobacco products.
So what would it take then in order to, because I can understand the not selling to a minor or raising the age, but that to me doesn't seem like it's going to help solve the problem. What happens with the minors that get caught? What services, if any, would be provided for them?
So there are continued resources through the City of San Antonio, including education. So currently we're working with the area school districts, nonprofits that work with young people, just to make sure that we're preparing them for the ordinance to take effect, to make sure that they're integrating discussion about the new ordinance into their current tobacco prevention education. And that's something that we're working very closely with them to ensure that that education is available, but also resources as to where to go if they need to look for cessation classes or support.
So it'll be a curriculum, a specific curriculum set, hopefully to address those issues?
Not specifically a curriculum. There's already existing curriculum that is being implemented and approved through school districts. It's integrating that into that current curriculum.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you talked about decoy checks, and so is that through the Metropolitan Health District?
Correct.
That will do that? Because
Yes.
we don't have a Metropolitan Health District in Leon Valley, so I'm wondering who would do that if we were to.
Right. So the way it'll work here with the City of San Antonio is we'll be recruiting young adults 18 to 20, very similar to what the State Comptroller's Office conducts for state law. We'll be, recruiting and training, and then they will be going out with our health inspectors to do that compliance visits.
Okay, so I guess we could mirror your ordinance, and I guess it doesn't have to be, okay, Denise, did you want to address that? Go
Mayor
ahead.
and
I'm just wondering how that's
Council,
going to work.
We have code enforcement officers.
Okay, it
so,
would be the code then.
This ordinance is going to become a part of our code. I've amended the code to include the ordinance, and it basically mirrors the city of San Antonio.
All right, very good. And what was the other thing I was going to say? It went out my head. Okay, I was just going ahead of, the reason why I thought this was important for us to look at it as a suburban city is because the city of San Antonio has passed this ordinance, but these young people can just come to a suburban city to purchase. So this presentation was presented at both mayors' organizations that I belong to in the region, and so with the encouragement, if the suburban cities would pass a similar ordinance, then it would be much more effective. So
Correct.
that was what prompted me to bring this to the council.
Yes, and then the other thing too is, so the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Society are working towards the next legislative session coming up in January to work with the Senate and the House to bring up some bills to get Tobacco 21 passed at the state level.
Oh, good. Okay. I know what I was going to ask you. Education of the businesses.
Yes.
I think that's important for us to have that
Yes.
if we pass this. And so how do you do that? Could we, use your methodology to implement it here? I always hate to reinvent the wheel, So how do you do that?
So what we've done so far is our health inspectors have visited the tobacco retailers, giving them the information. But we've also worked very closely with the San Antonio Council on Alcohol and Drug Awareness.
Okay.
They're a nonprofit here. They work very closely with the State Comptroller's Office. Under state law, they can work to educate tobacco retailers across not just Bexar County, but other surrounding counties. And so they already visit tobacco retailers in all the municipalities in Bexar County. So I did reach out to them about reaching out to tobacco retailers in Leon Valley, and they said we already go to those retailers, so we can just, in addition to educating them on state tobacco law, we will educate them also on Tobacco 21.
Very good. Okay, thank you. I'm glad to get that process down. Yes, Councilor Martinez.
Yeah, you mentioned it in your presentation, but what is in e-cigarettes? Is there tobacco, nicotine plus the flavoring?
Yes.
Is there other carcinogens?
There's nicotine. There's also liquids that do not have nicotine. They're also flavored. But the fear is, or the concern is that a young person can start off by sampling or doing non-nicotine liquids with their e-cigarette, but then lead up to then switching from non-nicotine to nicotine.
Okay. What other suburban cities have any other suburban cities passed this, or are they contemplating?
So we reached out, as Mayor said, to several mayors and city managers in other municipalities within Bexar County. So Dr. Bridger presented at the Olmos Park, I believe, a month and a half ago.
Okay.
But I think most municipalities, probably what we're hearing, they're waiting to see if other municipalities will pass something, or waiting to see if the state legislature will do something statewide.
Yeah. Okay, very good. We're going to be the first. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Councilor Jordan, did you have a question? Okay, Councilor Alcacer.
I have a problem with if there's no consequence to the 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, and from my experience with my grandkids in that age group, they say their friends get them for the flavors and have no other reason for doing it. But if there's no consequence to them, they have no younger people in high school, but most of them in that age range also know 21-year-olds. I don't see it as much of a deterrent for that age. Plus, they're out of high school, so for the most part, so there's not going to be much education there, maybe in the colleges if you're lucky to have it somewhere, but I don't see, like when you're a minor in possession of alcohol, you get the equivalent of a traffic ticket. And what would be, what's the negative about that for that age?
So what we saw from other major cities is that tobacco companies tend to target minority youth in the inner cities. And so by having an enforcement piece for young people, we would probably see the majority of those being cited would be minority youth. And so it's sort of looking at, that issue of what other cities have seen, and also taking into account that we have to kind of look strongly at education and having this piece come where you kind of limit the sale and distribution, and then making sure that we're working with school districts and other partners to make sure that we're educating at all levels of our community. But like I said, other cities did remove that piece of the enforcement part and found that it was still effective in reducing tobacco use in their communities.
I don't think it'll be nearly as effective as it could be, and it's pretty presumptive to say that when we haven't even tried it. I know many non-minorities who've been cited, but in other types of crime, I think it's more true, but I don't know if in these minor ones, but we'll see.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any questions, comments from our citizens this evening? Yes, Mr. Blackmore, good evening and welcome.
My name is Richard Blackmore. I live in Forest Haven. I'm a resident of Leon Valley. I don't think you should even consider this ordinance at all. I've been waiting a long time for this to come up. Talk about surveys. No one called me. No one sent me a letter. No one's ever asked me about this. Talk about we got to go in compliance with San Antonio. Well, they're going to go outside the city. They'll go outside the county. The county's not far. Just across. It's a couple miles down the road. Let me remind you, we have 17, 18-year-old men and women going to fight our country's battles, fighting for that flag that's sitting behind you. We have 18-year-olds that are voting. They should be able to determine if they want to buy cigarettes. They ought to be able to buy cigarettes. They ought to be able to buy alcohol, guns, the freedom of choice. And you shouldn't be making this choice for them. We're not in New York. This is Texas. This ain't California. This is Texas. This ain't Austin. This is Leon Valley, Texas. And this definitely in San Antonio. We're Leon Valley, Texas. Leave the age limit alone. They will debate it in Austin. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you
That's all I
very
got.
much, Mr. Blackmore. Do appreciate your comments this evening. Anyone else? Yes, sir? I'm sorry. Are you a resident of Leon Valley?
Brandon Gorham as of yesterday.
You're a resident of Leon Valley? Oh, okay. Where do you live?
Well, right now I'm looking for permanent housing. I'm in temporary housing in a hotel, long-term, relatively for a month.
Okay.
So I can secure an apartment.
All right. Our
Mayor.
Yes.
He's not on your list that I'm aware of. I don't know what your name is.
Yeah,
but
the reason why I'm not on the list is because the police officer at the door required that my driver's license reflected that. But because it's such a brand new, this is my first day here yesterday, the license hasn't had time to reflect that correct information. That's why. And I have very short comments. Will I be allowed to speak?
Okay. According to the rules that we just established tonight, I'm sorry, but could you send an email with your, why don't you do that?
The rules that you
having right now are just established tonight?
Well, no, they were established earlier, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I just want to agree with the other gentleman.
Okay, very
And,
good.
I just don't think the police should be involved in. What if you have someone who's addicted at 18, 19, 20, and they can't stop?
Okay.
And now they're in trouble because of the police. A misdemeanor means an arrest.
Okay.
Should a police ever be able to put their hands on
All
someone
right.
for this?
Thank you. I certainly appreciate it. I think we got your message there. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Then we will, Mr. Martinez, thank you so much. We don't have a vote tonight, but we appreciate your time and energy spent to communicate this ordinance to us. Thank you and have a good evening. All right. Moving then to ordinance number 8.3. There's all this action here. Okay. Let's see. Ms. Posley, if you'll please read the ordinance 8.3, excuse me.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas City Council amending the enterprise fund of the City of Leon Valley, Texas municipal budget for fiscal year 2017-2018 in the amount of $48,400 to provide funding for the construction of Hebner Road Silo Property Sewer Main Project.
Thank you. And we have Ms. Melinda Mortz, our Public Works Director, here this evening to present. And welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and City
You bet.
Council. So the purpose of this item is to present and discuss an ordinance authorizing a fiscal year 2017-18 enterprise fund budget adjustment in the amount of $48,400, and that shouldn't say enterprise, it would say economic development, to construct the Hebner Road Silo
okay.
property.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. In September, of 2017, the City Council authorized the city manager to enter into a developer's agreement with First American Commercial Property Group for the construction of a sewer main extension in exchange for a land donation of an approximately 0.6 acre parcel of land in the 7500 block of Hebner Road. The property contains 2 large silos and a small piece of land. The developer had the silos inspected, and the inspection revealed that the structures are safe and they're not going to fall over. The silos are an iconic symbol in Leon Valley and are thought to have been built by the Sturenthaler family back in the early 1900s. Numerous citizens have asked if these silos could possibly be saved. However, as you know, this is private property right now. The new sewer easement would be relocated along the bottom of the silo detention pond and more directly service the property along Hebner Road. The main would run from the Canterfield Alley to the front of the silos, which is approximately 650 feet in length. The city would pay for the construction of the main, and the main would service the 2 commercial lots that front onto Hebner Road. Right now, they're configured as 2 commercial lots. There may be some other configuration in the future, depending on who buys the property from First Commercial. And this gives you a picture of the property. And so this is the current sewer easement that we have for, this was one big lot. And so now he wants to divide this in these 2. And so this would be the piece that's got the silos on them. And so the new sewer easement would run right through the bottom of that detention pond, up, and then over so that it services both those lots. The developer does not have a firm buyer at this time, and therefore I don't know what he's planning on constructing there. But the lots are zoned B2 retail and B1 small business. Constructing a sewer main to these vacant properties will increase the interest of buyers, as this cuts down on infrastructure costs, which are typically borne by the developers. They don't mind having to put infrastructure on their property, but it gets expensive when you have to go off property in order to bring those utilities to your lot. The estimated project cost to construct the 8-inch sanitary sewer line is about $48,400. A budget adjustment in the amount of $48,400 is requested from the Economic and Community Development Sales Tax, and then the funds would be placed in the enterprise fund. And this just gives you a showing of what those costs are made of. The Economic and Community Development Project funding line item currently has a balance of $59,587. On May 30th, 2018, the item was presented to the Economic and Community Development Advisory Committee to request the funding, and they kind of went all over the map with it. First, they made a motion to fund the entire amount with the stipulation that the funding only be granted when the developer submits site and/or building plans for review by the city, but that motion failed for a lack of a second. The second motion was made to fund $10,000 towards the project in this fiscal year, and then have the city council fund the rest of the project in the next fiscal year through our regular budgeting process, or have the request brought back to the ECD next year. You say the city wanted to only fund $30,000, they would fund the rest. That motion also failed for a lack of a second. A third motion was made to remand the request to City Council for appropriate budgeting in the next fiscal year, and then if the council needs more money for this project, they would reconsider the item for a portion of the funding. That motion did carry by a vote of 3-2 in favor. We recommend that the City Council consider approving the ordinance authorizing a budget adjustment in the amount of $48,400 from the Economic Sales Tax Project Funding line item to the Enterprise Fund to construct this project. Another consideration you could have is if they didn't want to take it out of the Economic Development Sales Tax Fund, it also can be taken from the Enterprise Fund. This is a sewer main.
That third motion was, they didn't want to take it out of the ED fund, right? They wanted us to use it, take the money from another fund within the city's general fund?
Not the general fund, it would be the Enterprise Fund.
The Enterprise Fund.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you're saying what's the balance in that, the 50?
It's got right at $1.8 million in the Enterprise Fund.
The Enterprise Fund.
Right.
Okay.
The Economic Development Sales Tax Fund
Was 58,000.
that's a certain line item. It's a project funding line item, so it's not their balance. But that one was
Yeah, that was back there, 58,000, I think.
Mayor, Council, Melinda, I just have a brand new, if you go back to the recommendation page, just spoke with Chairperson Nazaroff, and we're going to have we're trying to make sure everybody's going to be here, but he wants to have a meeting July the 11th, which would be before the second read. That way, they would like this project presented again by Melinda, so that they have the entire background to the project. They didn't feel like they got the full picture during that meeting. And so certainly we're definitely wanting to do that. So by the time it comes to a second read, you may yet have another recommendation from that board. I don't know. But they are going to meet one more time about this.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you're aware of
I
that.
listened to the tape, and I mean, I know their concerns were, that the developer didn't have any plans for B1 or B2 yet. And then also there was a question that came up, should we bear the developer's cost? And you're saying that this really isn't the developer's cost, is that correct?
It would be, if this was a normal project. What we're
Okay.
doing here is an exchange of land.
Well, that's right. That's what I was going to ask you.
In
He's
exchange
giving
for the land, we're giving him a sewer main.
This is the silos that we're
Right.
saving, right?
And
So it's
that-
kind of a quid pro quo, right? I mean, we're, like you said.
Correct. The
Yeah,
land
that's
is
what I
worth
thought.
$156,000. So it's not like we're giving.
You mean that 0.6 acres with the
With
two
the silos,
silos
yes,
is worth
ma'am.
150,000?
156,000.
56,000. Okay, I
So
did
we're
not know that.
we're not giving them anything.
Okay.
It's a
It's
fair
an
exchange.
Well, and then was that 48,000 going to be in-house, or do you have to
It's going to
contract
be
it
a
out?
combination. We're going to
Oh,
have a trencher
combination.
come in, an actual contractor come in to do the trenching because it is a very deep sewer main that's needed.
Okay.
And then our guys, we'll buy the materials and our guys will put the line in. Then the contractor will come back, cover it up.
Okay, all right, very good. I'm sorry, were you finished with your
Yes, ma'am.
presentation?
Yes,
Okay, good, as we started talking. Okay, is there any other questions? But thank you, Ms. Kinsler. I think that's a great idea to come get the ED, CD input, and then we can listen to that, the second read. So, Counselor Alcacer?
We've gotten some suggestion that they may divide that into 3 properties. Will that,
Is that right?
if they do that, how will it be affected by the placement, since you're placing it for the purpose of 2?
Do you see how this takes a jog right here?
Uh-huh.
And so if he was going to do 3, he'd have to figure out how much area, excuse me, is required for B2 retail properties and for B1 small business properties. But the split would be somewhere probably in here and maybe over here. So this line would service all 3. It's in the perfect place.
But so once it's done, he has to worry about that part.
That's his problem.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right. Counselor Martinez, did you have a question, comment? Anybody else?
I'm good.
Okay,
All
well,
right.
very good,
Thank you very much.
I know this project's been pending for for some time, so I'm glad to get this on the books. All right, thank you so much for your help in this matter. Okay, moving then to agenda item number 8.4. Ms. Pausele, would you please read the ordinance? Oh, thank you. I get to read it. Yay. All right. Discuss and consider possible action on a resolution, that's right, appointing members and alternates to the Board of Adjustment, the Leon Valley Public Library, Board of Trustees, the Park Commission, the Tree Advisory, and the Zoning Commission. Ms. Pausele, if you'll please continue, and welcome.
Hello.
Thank you. We're glad you're here.
Thank you, me too. Not really. No, I am. Okay. So this item we do every 2 years, so it's that fun time again when you get all the applications for your boards and commissions that are coterminous with the mayor's appointments. Would you like to do these one at a time? I can go through the presentation and stop it per board, if
Okay,
you prefer.
why don't we do it that way? Is that all right with my colleagues?
That's fine.
One at a time. What I'd like to know for myself as I was going through it is just how many spots do we have open on the board currently after we appoint everybody? That's my concern, so we can fill these.
Correct.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So the purpose of this item is to, for City Council, sorry, let me start that over. The purpose of this item is to present to City Council all the City of Leon Valley applications for boards, commissions, committees, and that are coterminous with the mayor's appointment. On April 20th, 2018, I sent out an email to all the boards and commissions and committee members. I'm just going to say boards.
Sure.
Okay. All the board members who had terms ending with the mayor's term of 5/31/2018. On April 27th, I sent another email out to the liaisons reminding them, hey, your members' appointments are expiring, and I presented to them how many of those had sent in their applications since April 20th. Then again, on May 1st, I sent another email out to the liaisons, and I informed the chairs of those committees that the council had extended those terms another 30 days in order to accommodate a new ordinance amendment, which was Ordinance 2018-37. That ordinance gave the chair the authority to make a recommendation when it came to the alternates filling vacant positions. So all the chairs had another month to review and send in their recommendation to the council. On May 25th, 2018, I sent out another email to all the committees, individuals who, the chairs, and I had scanned in the applications that came in and asked for them to send in the recommendations by June 13th to be put in this packet for you. So we'll start with the Board of Adjustment. I don't know if you can see this, but this is the current board that these terms will expire at the end of June based on the 30-day extension.
Oops, back.
Did we go one more? I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. Okay, so the following applications were submitted. Stephen Mauser, Philip Riddle, Vivian Pankey, Albert Alcacer, Gail Monig, David Smith, and Geraldine Smith. These are the dates that these were received. All but two were received prior, all but three were received prior to the deadline. I'm going to turn the light back on. So you have 5 positions, member positions to fill, and 4 alternate members to fill with the applications you were given.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've got 7, so 5 plus 2 is 7.
Right, and I will add that Chair Malloy and Member Patricia Manea have both resigned. Chair Malloy has served for a very long time and no longer wants to do that.
I understand.
They are still on board till the 30th of this month.
Okay.
And I did not receive a recommendation from the chair.
Okay. But if we take it in order of the applicants received, so there's 5 sitting board members, is that correct?
Correct.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 2 alternates? Or is there 3 alternates?
There's 4 alternates.
There's 4 alternates.
In the
So-
past, there was only 2, and I had asked the liaison at the time about that and was told, oh, we only need 2, but I reminded her that the ordinance called for 4.
Okay.
So we do need to fill all 4.
Okay. So if we, I know we don't do it tonight. Is this, no, we do. It's
Yes, ma'am.
resolution, that's right. I keep going this
Well, we
second
really need
reading.
to because
Second
if they
reading
have a
and all this
case, then
other
we
stuff.
have
That's
to be
right.
able to
So
hear
if we
it.
did the 5 plus the 2 alternates, but then I make a note, we have 2 more alternates that we need to
Correct.
fill, then that's, yeah, I think, I mean, if these people want to serve, I want to appoint them personally, but what do y'all think? Any? Okay. Anybody else?
None
I
of
would
these
need-
have had the problem of attendance in this particular board, have they?
No, but I will add, and hopefully you've all seen your packets. For the public, you won't see that because that's confidential information, but the council was provided the applications for all these members along with their attendance for the last 2 years. So you can see in your packet their attendance records, and I think pretty much this whole board did pretty good.
Well, I was going to say we only had the first 1, 2, 3 that were on the board, the previous board, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So the other ones don't have an attendance record yet.
Right, we
And-
had Malloy, Pankey, Mauser, Riddle, yeah.
And, yeah, and
That-
Ms.
that have
Ms.
reapplied.
Martinez that
Is
was
it
on there.
preferable to you that we do appoint them board by board or the whole thing?
I'd like to write them down and then we can do them as read. I can read them back to you at the end if you'd like.
All together, all the boards together?
Okay, all right. So everybody in agreement?
I would
Okay,
just need to
yes.
know what position you're putting whom.
Well, I was going to say first 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 received
member?
as a member, and then the last 2.
Chair, vice chair. and
Well,
mayor
they have to,
position.
they have to appoint
Appoint
within
themselves.
themselves, is that correct?
Chair, yes.
So will they all know that at the next meeting?
They'll
they
know
need
that. The
to-
liaison will
The
pass that on.
liaison, good. That's important because I think they all need to address that. Okay. All right, so is that right? We'll just go 1 through 5? Yes, Counselor Jordan, and then
Yeah.
Counselor Martinez.
I had a question on spouses. Is that Miss Geraldine Rodriguez Smith? Is that Mr. Smith's
It is.
wife? Okay.
I don't think
But
we
is
have
it-
anything that precludes it in our, or,
I don't believe our nepotism policy addresses boards and,
I believe they're both on the Park Commission, you'll see also.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. I just want to clarify. Thank you.
Mr. Martinez?
My one concern, is Gail Monig still on the zoning commission?
No, she's not on the Zoning Commission.
Never was.
She never was.
Okay.
She's on the ED/CD board.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
But good point.
Mhm. You can't have
Yeah.
the same person on the Zoning Commission as the Board of Adjustment. Yeah, okay, that's what you
Shouldn't.
were, you shouldn't, yeah, because they're both statutory. Yes, did you have a comment, Mr. Milan? You were, no, that's okay, go ahead. Yes. Oh, Mr. Smith is on the Zoning Commission. Oh, thank you. So he's not, it's not advisable for him to be on both boards. There you go. So now we need 3 alternates.
Right.
Because
I can,
Mr. Smith should not be
any
on there.
vacancies that are left from tonight, we can certainly advertise
Okay,
in the next
very
few
good.
weeks
So
and bring
we'll
them
put
back.
3.
The main thing is to fill the member position so we can
Okay.
proceed with business.
Thank you, Mr. Milan, for pointing that out to us. Really appreciate that. Okay, so everyone would be appointed except for Mr. Smith. So the first 5 members are members, and then Geraldine Smith is an alternate. And we have 3 openings for alternates. Okay, great.
Okay.
Next board.
Next board. We move to the Library Board of Directors.
Okay.
Again, this group, I think, had pretty good attendance. But these are the 4 applications that we did receive. If council recalls, I think it was in the fall, the Library Board of Directors came to you and asked for staggered terms.
Mhm.
So this is that half that we're finishing off.
Okay.
Also did not receive any recommendations from chair.
Okay.
So you have 3 member positions and 1 alternate to name.
So-
Currently, Sandra Keller serves in the alternate position, and the other 3 are in the member positions.
So is that the way they would continue? And just because of the order is different?
Then applications
I imagine
received.
Keller's came in when she was first appointed to the board, because hers is way back in February.
Oh, yes. She was just recently put on within, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 months.
So in this one, it doesn't matter the order, they just go back to where
Same.
they were.
Reappoint as is. Okay.
So, for point of clarification, Jill Crane, Barbara Owens, and Heather Haskin would be the member positions, and Sandra Keller is the alternate. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's
Are there-
what you wish.
Well, I thought that's the one that she
That
was.
is what they are currently.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so, unless there's an opening on the other, I don't, has somebody, because usually the alternate moves up, but.
No, they're
Okay,
full.
oh, they're full. So are there any other positions open on the
No.
library? So they're full?
They're full.
Once we make this appointment? Okay, great. Thank you.
I like the library.
Okay, so no openings on the library?
No, ma'am.
All right, great, thank you. Next board?
So then we move to the Park Commission.
Okay.
Teeny tiny, and I can't see that from here, but those that have reapplied are Roger Christensen, Jack Dean, Kathy Hill, Belinda Ely, Caroline Gabriel, David Smith, and Geraldine Smith.
Now, do they have staggered terms?
No.
So they still have more, you still have more positions.
Yes.
Melinda, can you explain that to us? Because I know we added alternates as well, didn't we, a couple of years ago?
We
Because
had 9 and 2.
you had a hard time.
It's a 7-member board,
Seven-member.
and then they
1, 2,
also
3, 4,
need to
5,
have
6,
3
7.
alternates.
Okay.
And at the Park Commission meeting just this past week, which they've not been able to forward their stuff to you yet to get on
Okay.
the agenda, but they had asked Jack Dean and also David Smith if they wanted to become regular members, and both said that they did.
Okay.
In addition to that, I still have one regular member position open, and so we could actually move Ms. Geraldine Rodriguez-Smith up to as a regular member as well. But then you would just be having to find 3 alternates.
3 alternates, that's what I have here. So is that acceptable to the council, just to move everybody up to regular status? Okay,
Yes.
with 3 alternate positions open on the park.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent.
I would like, this committee has more members, but they have had fewer meetings because of a quorum, and I would like to have these people know that if they're not going to attend just because they're excused, because some didn't attended fewer than half the meetings in the last 2 years, and they're still wanting to reapply, and that to me isn't quite right. If maybe they sit as an alternate versus a regular member, or they at least be made aware, maybe all the committees, that if you're going to miss it, even though it's excused, if you're going to miss 3 meetings, maybe you should consider another committee or another day or something. I don't know how to get the word out, but it just doesn't seem right to keep applying for something when you're not going to attend.
We can certainly have that discussion with them at their first meeting.
But what is the rule? The rule is 3 unexcused absences, right?
That's not really
Is it not clear?
It's on some committees, it's in their charter.
Okay.
And some it's not.
So we might need to visit
I think what we
that.
need to do, yes, ma'am, is probably put something in there. I think it was brought up, what is excused? Should there be a medical excuse? Is it 2 meetings? Is it 3? Some committees have 2. Is it consecutive, or is it within a year? So it is something that we probably need to look at.
Yes.
I can
For
bring that
another
back.
day.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but we can go ahead and just approve these if it's the consensus of the council for all voting members, and then we'll have 3 alternate positions open. And then we'll look at the attendance at a later date. That'd be all right? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
But I think if you have that discussion, Ms. Moritz, at your next meeting, then they're all aware of it, and because I know some people do have legitimate excuses, they really do.
And we can stress that to the liaisons as they go into their new 2-year term.
Okay, thank you.
So then we go to the Tree Advisory Board. We have Irene Baldridge, Amber Mauser. Oh, the baby's not here. It's the first time in months.
I know.
Mary Key, Thomas Benavides, Diana Sarfin, Richard Sarfin, Denise Berger, and Melinda Dawson.
And I think they're full. Are they not?
And they have kind of a rocky attendance record.
Very rocky.
So, again, your decision.
Who's the liaison for the tree? Dave. Okay. So, again, and we have are these the member positions, or is somebody in an alternate
No,
position?
they don't, I'm sorry, there are alternates.
Yeah.
Three are alternates and 6 are member spots.
Okay, so who are the 6 and who are the alternates up here? 1, 2. I think Amber was an alternate.
Green is one.
The alternates I have are Mauser and Baldridge right now.
Mauser and Baldridge. Okay.
So there's 6 regular sitting members?
Correct.
Okay. Because this committee did have a terrible attendance.
Okay, well, doggone it. I love volunteers. I know they don't. Anyway,
Right, they're
why don't we, just to stress the attendance, but I think since they've all applied, that means that they do have a desire to serve, and I would hate to not honor that.
right, but they also need to attend. If you look at the attendance, did you look at the mayor?
I did. I saw the attendance, but again, I don't think it's clear. Is it 3 consecutive, but what if it's excused? I think a lot of people think that if it's excused, it doesn't count against you, that kind of thing. If it's unexcused, yes. If you didn't call in or ignored it. So I think that's where we need to look at
Right,
and tighten up
or
those.
maybe they could be alternates, volunteer to be alternates, and let some of those who can attend be the regulars, something like that. We need to just work on it, or just a reminder.
Yeah.
We do, they meet monthly, so we can revisit that as well, but they are very good to work with, and they always let me know if they can't attend.
That's
in
so true.
advance.
And they do love that committee. I know all of them.
They do. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 board members, 2 alternates, Irene Baldridge, Amber Mauser, correct? And then do we have any other alternates? That's it. 6?
We have 1 vacancy.
We have 1 vacancy, so 1 alternate vacancy. That's what I wanted to know. Tree advisory, 1 alternate. Okay. Very good. Thank you. And the last one should be zoning.
Reappoint
Yes,
everybody. Okay.
reappoint everyone with the 2, because nobody from the Mary Key down, they've been on there since we began, I think, haven't they? I believe so. So they would continue in a alternate position. Okay. So last but not least is zoning, I think, right? That's our last one?
1 second. Writing them all down.
Yeah.
Okay, so the zoning commission, we had William Dooley, Tom Garza, Larry Prophet, and Greg Price all apply. And this one, you did get a chair response. So Chairman Hal Burnside, I don't know if you've read this, but
Yeah.
Okay. So did you want me to read it?
I think we got the gist of it, that Mr. Alonso needs to be moved up into the vacancy.
Okay. So with this board, we have a vacancy for Commissioner Place 1. Now, this one is to complete a term for somebody who's no longer on it. So that one has to have a separate term assigned to this resolution. And that term would expire 5/31/19 versus the others that are all going to be 5/31/20.
Okay.
But all these people will fill the positions that they're already in.
Correct. Tom Garza and
He's brand new.
new, so he's not actually in a position, so I would need to know which one you want him to complete or to fill.
Well, are there staggered terms?
Yes.
Right, definitely. So Larry Prophet and Greg Price are re-upping because they've been on the commission. Mr. Dooley just got on, though, I thought, just
He
within a
did.
couple of
He
months
did,
ago.
like February.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
so he wants to stay.
Hmm. And so it's Mr. Garza that's the new appointment. So is it Mr. Dooley that moves into the open position because he's the last one? The
chair would
newest
have to
one?
make that
Because
Edward Alonzo to take the, Edward Alonzo is what the chair is recommending to take place one.
Right. I would go
That's
by.
the
I would go
completely
by.
vacancy.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's
the
right.
one that's the
Remember, we took off
531.
a board member because of non-attendance. Did you remember that?
Yes.
Yes, and then, so that's the one that's open. So we move, and Mr. Alonso is an alternate, so we move him up to that.
So he'll have the full 2-year term.
He'll have the full two-year
No,
term. No?
Alonzo will complete, when you have a vacancy due to somebody resigning or asking to step down, which is what happened in this situation for lack of attendance, then whoever fills that position, because if not, you get the terms
Oh,
all
yeah,
messed
that's
up,
right.
so they complete the other person's term.
Okay.
And
So-
then he or she would be up for reappointment, in a year.
All right. So he would be in place one, but his term would expire in 19.
Right.
Okay. All right.
So what you're telling me is Tom Garza would go into the second alternate's position, replacing Mr. Dooley, correct?
Well, I thought there were 3 alternate positions open.
There are.
Okay, so
okay,
Mr.
he's
Garza would
first.
would be number 1 alternate, and we have 2 alternate positions open. That's what I understood. Is that correct, Mr. Milan? Yes, yes, sir.
Mr. Burnside as well.
We need to fill.
Yes.
Mr. Burnside's
Oh,
So at our next meeting, one of our
yeah.
first items of business will be to
Okay.
elect the new chair and a vice chair.
Uh-huh.
So that position
Okay.
will, assuming that a vice chair or a regular member moves into the chair position, then that'll also create another regular.
Okay, that's what he was telling me. There's going to be 3 alternates. Is that right?
Right, so then the next number 2, so right now Mr. Alonzo is space alternate 1, and Mr. Dooley is alternate 2.
2. So they would both move up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then we would still have 3 alternate positions open, or would Mr. Garza?
Mr. Garza, I didn't realize, I
Yeah.
didn't remember Mr. Burnside resigning, but so yes, you would need to put him in a member spot.
Mr. Garza would be a member spot or an alternate spot?
Well, you have
Alternate
a
1.
vacancy in the chair's position, which, is actually place 2, or Commissioner 2. So 2 is open. You've reappointed place 4, which is Larry Prophet, Greg Price, which is in 6, and then you've moved Edward Alonzo up into 1st, so that leaves the second seat open.
So Tom Garza should go to.
Or William Dooley.
William Dooley.
No,
'Cause-
Dooley's a newbie. Wasn't Tom Garza in before or
No,
not?
no, he
Okay.
just,
All right.
yeah, so Mr. Dooley goes into that position. Yes, Mr. Counselor Jordan.
Excuse me.
It's confusing.
Well, didn't a couple of council meetings ago, Mr. Burnside came to the council about about us appointing people and putting people in places in the zoning commission, and them requesting that they make the recommendation and bring it back to us. So.
He did.
Huh?
Mr.
He may have done that?
Mr. Burnside did that.
Okay, but
Yeah.
so why are we talking about who's going into what seat afterwards? Seems to me if the request that they made was for us to not make those recommendations, that they make those recommendations, even with the order of who replaces whom, and then come back to us. That's my question.
Well, the problem is that you have Burnside, I think he just forgot he
Yeah,
was going to
he
be
was-
gone, and so he won't be there to recommend, and they need somebody for the board meetings.
I know,
Well,
but
he'll
they're
be
gonna
here
have-
through the end of the month.
I'm
but-
sorry, they're going to have regular elections, we'll put people in place, and then at that point, when they have their new officers in place, they can resume the meeting and have the conversation about who goes into what
Yeah,
spot.
I would just say, just thinking it logically through, whoever's on the board, who's got seniority, even it might just be 3 months or something, be moved up. You know how it goes. You just move them up, and Mr. Garza is a brand new applicant, well, he may have a member spot. I don't know if he does or not, or if not, he'd be first alternate, right?
Yes, first alternate.
Yeah, I just don't know.
If Mr. Dooley want to be
If
moved.
Mr. Dooley has already served for 3 months, I think we ought to honor him with a member spot from an alternate spot. What do y'all think? Right? I think the alternates have waited patiently to move up to the member spot. That's the way I look at it. So, does that make sense? Okay.
May we go?
Yes, you
down?
may.
Okay, so place
Yes.
2, you want who in there?
Be Dooley.
I guess Dooley, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, place
So
1.
1 is Edward Alonso,
Alonso.
2 is Dooley. Who's 3?
Well, 3 is not up for reappointment. That's
Okay.
David Smith currently.
David Smith, I just want to know who that is. Okay, 4 is Larry Prophet. Who's 5?
Kathy?
Oh, hi, Carrie Rouse, yes. Okay, and then 6 is
Catherine. Kathy.
Kathy. I always call you Cassie. See, all right, I was right. Okay, Cassie, that's what I've always called her. Okay, and then 5 is, who's GP?
Greg Price.
Oh, there we go, Greg Price. I just put GP. Okay, GP, Greg Price, there we go. Okay, all right, so we got it.
Alternate 1.
Alternate 1 is going to be Tom Garza.
And then
That works
2
out
is Dooley.
fine.
No, who's
No,
2?
Dooley
So we
is
have
in
3
2.
vacancies, okay.
So we have alternate number 1 is Tom Garza, and so we need 2 alternates. Okay, very good. Excelente.
Okay, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
try to read this back then.
Okay, I think we
Okay.
got it.
So for Board of Adjustments, we have Mauser, Riddle, Pankey, and I'm sorry, I'm going to just do last names. No disrespect. Mauser, Riddle, Pankey, Alcacer, Monig, and alternate is Geraldine Smith. Library, Crane, Owens, Haskin, alternate Keller. Park, Christensen, Dean, Hill, Ely, Gabriel, Smith, and Rodriguez Smith. Anything I didn't mention is a vacancy. Tree Advisory, Dawson, Berger, Key, Benavides, Sarfin, and alternates Mauser and Baldridge. And then zoning, we have Price. I'm sorry, let me start. Alonzo in first place, Dooley in second, Profit in 4, Price in 6, and Tom Garza as alternate 1, with Alonzo having a term expiring 5/31/19.
Okay.
And I'm done.
Yes.
Bolton on the Park Commission.
We had, I thought we had removed her due to non-attendance. Oh, did she not reapply? She didn't reapply. I don't believe. Miss Bolton, Miss Bolton? I don't think she reapplied for Parks.
They
Did-
just,
Yes, her application is in your packet.
Oh, okay.
that's the only
Too
one that I
many.
didn't hear.
Oh, okay. Thank you for picking that up.
My error, I did not put it on there, but it was in your packet. And
Yeah, I know. I'm
sorry,
looking by
It is
that.
on here listed as receiving her application.
Okay,
let's go
so
back to
that
Park.
means,
Still have 2 member positions open and 2 alternates.
so then we have 2 alternates on the Park Commission with the appointment of,
And
She's a board member.
she's a board member, though.
She
Mhm.
was just named vice
Mhm.
chair.
Oh, she was? Okay. So Danielle Bolton is a regular member. So who's the alternates?
know that she
Who
was
is the
vice chair.
alternate?
The alternates currently are David Smith and Jack Dean.
I thought you said you moved them up into regular positions.
I didn't even know that Ms. Bolton had been named vice chair, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that just came about with their last meeting, so y'all haven't gotten those recommendations yet.
Mm-mm.
But with all them, you'll have 3 alternate positions open.
Oh, we still will have 3 alternate positions open?
Yes, ma'am.
We will. Okay, I changed it from 3 to 2, so I go back to 3?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'll check on that for you,
Okay.
make sure. I didn't
3
bring their code with
alternates.
me.
I think it's just 2.
I thought it was just 2 because we had,
we
we didn't include Bolton.
We
I was
did in
just
the
look-
packet. just
I
didn't
know,
put it
but
on the
I was looking
PowerPoint.
up here.
It is listed on your cover sheet in your packet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mhm.
It was a long night.
In fact, because Melinda, aren't there 7 members on that committee?
And 2 alternates.
And I think it's actually 3 alternates.
Is it 3
But
alternates?
the problem is we now have 8 members, so Jack Dean has to go back to being an alternate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because he was appointed last.
Okay, I have 6 that are regular members right now.
Who's that?
And that would be Christensen, Gabriel, Hill, Taryn, Bolton, and Geraldine Rodriguez Smith.
Okay, but Taryn didn't reapply.
Bye.
Ah, okay, so there's the vacant.
Yeah.
There's the vacant.
There's the vacancy.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're good.
And Benet didn't reapply.
Yeah.
So
And Jackie Walton resigned.
she resigned. Okay.
She moved out of Leon Valley.
Did she really? I did not know that. Okay. So can you please repeat who's on the Park Commission? Just so we know, we're all on the same page.
So it would be Roger Christensen, Carolyn Gabriel, Kathy Hill, Danielle Bolton, David Smith, Jack Dean, and Geraldine Rodriguez Smith.
Oh, you forgot somebody.
Yeah, you forgot somebody. Belinda Ely.
Oh,
Yeah.
Belinda Ely.
See, this is hard.
See, that's why I'm saying we got to do it again.
Okay,
So
yeah, Jack Dean
Jack
needs
Dean's
to
going
be
to have
the
to be the
alternate.
alternate again. Yeah, he can't be moved up because everybody else has served longer. Is that correct? So
Yes.
Jack Dean is an alternate, and so we have 2 alternate positions open, not 3. There we go. We got it. So 2. All right. Excelente. Good. I'm glad we hashed that out. Oh, and thank you for checking that error. Oh, boy, on Danielle Bolton. Wow, that would have been not good. So, okay. So, everybody clear? And so may I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Right.
With all the changes and all the recommendations, that we keep them as presented.
I'll second that.
All right. We have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Martinez to approve the members of the committees as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
if it's okay, once I get this resolution filled in, I'm probably going to send it to all of you. If you see something out, just let me know before you sign it.
Before I sign it. I won't sign it tonight, I promise.
Yeah, I won't do it tonight.
I know sometimes we try to beat each other on signing.
I'm not doing it tonight.
Before midnight.
Ordinances, yes.
Yes. Okay, at the request, agenda item number 8.5, at the request of the city attorney, she has requested that we pull this agenda item for a later date. Moving then to agenda item 8.6, presentation of the municipal water supply project. We have David Demline, our Assistant Public Works Director, and this is regarding the $2 million debt that we took out about 2 years ago for the 2 new water wells, and you're going to give us a summary. So it's excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
It's easy to do. It's like pens, you know? You grab it and just run with it.
Mayor and
Thank you.
Council, we wanted to report that the municipal water supply bond project is completed, and the following is a report to summarize the activity and the cost associated with this project. In June of 2015, the City Council was briefed on the current condition of our water wells. The Grass Hill water well was experiencing more frequent positive samples, as you recall, of pre-treated water. And this was not in our distribution system, but it was at the well site. Likely cause was due to a hole in the casing located about 37 feet in depth. And at the Hebner water well, the televised recording indicated that there were several holes near the base of the casing, and it was in danger of collapsing as well. The emergency interconnection that we had with SAW was on a 8-inch line, and so it was unable to maintain required pressure for our entire system. So the City Council directed us, staff, to move forward with a plan to plug and abandon our existing wells, drill 2 new wells, and construct a new emergency interconnection, SAWS connection. An RFP process was initiated, and Southwest Engineers was selected as the project engineer. They developed the project plans and secured permits and assisted with the bid package and construction phases. The project geologist was Mr. Kaveh Korzad with Wet Rock. The well drilling was handled by Hydro Resources. The construction was handled by J&K Utilities. The project began in 2016 and was completed in 2018. And the summary of work is the first item that we started with was the SAWS emergency interconnect, because we wanted to ensure that we did have water in case of an emergency. And so we worked with SAWS on the plan review and the permit approval. The new interconnection is located at Grass Hill well site. It is capable of servicing the entire city, because we were able to tap their existing 30-inch water main that runs along Bandera Highway. And we were able to bring that into our station, which goes directly into the ground storage tank. And so we have the ability to pump directly into distribution after that, if we were to need to use that. The next step was to drill the new well at Grass Hill. And of course, this is located at 6210 Grass Hill. It is 600 feet in depth, 413 feet of 16-inch casing, constructed in 2017. We did upgrade the electrical service with CPS. It does include a variable frequency drive, which is much more energy efficient and less wear and tear on the well motor. The water is then treated, of course, at that station, and it goes into our ground storage tank or into distribution. And so now our yield out of this well is almost 2,000 gallons per minute. Previously, it was about 1,100 gallons per minute. So then the next step was to plug and abandon the old well at that location and also remove the electrical panel. So the next phase was to move over to the Hebner well site and begin the drilling of that new well. Very similar, 600 feet in depth, constructed in 2017. Very similar as far as the type of motor, the size. And this well also gives us close to 2,000 gallons per minute versus 1,000 that we were getting. So now we've basically doubled our yield out of these wells. So that's really a great thing. Then we plugged and abandoned the old well, and that was the last phase of the project. In terms of fiscal impact, as you know, the general obligation bonds were $2 million. The total project cost, we're currently at $1.656 million. That leaves a balance of $343,484. We did have an increase on the project of $141,593. And those are reflected in 5 change orders that were mainly at our Grass Hill well site. We had some site limitations, and we had to work with CPS on basically moving the electrical service over. And then also on the SAWS interconnection was very deep. That line runs almost 25 feet in depth. So just the pit was really it had to be constructed and we had to be very careful about the depth of that area. The other thing that we did is we upgraded our SCADA system, which stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition, SCADA for short. and that's our automated system that, so our wells are basically, our system is, it's derived on level. So the wells will communicate back to the well pump when it needs to kick on if it's low and when it needs to turn off. So we were able to upgrade our system, and we also have the ability now to, we can monitor the system from our houses in the field. We can pull that up at any time and look at the scenarios that we have, and so it's really a great upgrade that we have. The remaining balance would be used to rehabilitate the ground storage tank that's at the Grass Hill Station. That's the 750,000 gallon tank. We have an estimated cost of $252,000 for that project. We expect to begin the work in the winter months during our lower demand, so December, January timeframe. The funds remaining would be put towards the rehab of the Grass Hill elevated storage tank, which is at that location as well. So they've both kind of received a fair rating, if you will, with some need to paint the exterior and the interior of those tanks. We have not received the project estimate for the elevated tank yet. That summarizes the project, and this is our, the C statement, assuring an ample and dependable water supply affects the general quality of life of all citizens. Improvements to our water utility helps us maintain infrastructure, which may encourage relocation. The new water wells and emergency interconnection ensure an adequate water supply at all times. And environmental, more efficient variable frequency drives on our water well motors reduces the amount of electrical energy. And so that concludes the report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions, Mayor.
Oh, okay, very good. I just had a clarification. The 1.656 million, that included the emergency connection and the 2 wells, all of the change orders and the SCADA system?
Yes, Mayor.
That's
yes,
everything. And so, okay, then the balance, I understand, is going to be used for the storage tanks.
Yes, that is correct. And we just got word from our project engineer that there'll be a little charge left for, they're working on a hydraulic model of the system. And so I think that amount is about $4,500. But that will really help us look at the future of our system and help us kind of determine, we had talked earlier today about the Marshall tank.
The Marshall tank, yeah.
Kind of our options on that, if
80,
we can take it offline.
80-something years old is what I heard. 1937? Yes. Is that right?
That's correct.
It's a very old tank that we have to look at as well. Boy, I'm really glad to see those numbers as far as the water pressure being increased so significantly because of the 2 new wells, because I know the Ridge had problems with water pressure, and so hopefully you've seen an improvement.
I think
Councilor Jordan.
we've taken some measurements over there, and it seems to have improved maybe about 5 to 6 psi.
Okay.
But just the advantage of having that by doubling our yield out of those wells, it's just a lot less wear and tear on those motors. We can fill up our tanks a lot quicker, and and the emergency interconnection is what we were really excited about because, that's we have the ability to fill up the ground storage tank really quickly, assuming SAWS has water, which I don't foresee any problems with that. But we have tested it out just to make sure it was operational, and it works great. So we're real excited to have that.
Okay. Wonderful. Yes. Okay, Councilor Alcacer.
Can we get beautiful, colorful, bright, happy exterior on that water thing that can advertise our city? We drive around the country and have been in most states, and the thing that's shows up in most small cities as a fantastic water tower that often has a very positive, pleasant message, an exciting one, and exciting colors.
We can definitely bring that back to you when we're working with L&B engineers on that bid package. That does run a little extra at times, but we'll definitely bring this back to you and get your input on the colors and design if we want to put a logo. Typically, the logos go on the elevated storage tanks.
We don't need a logo, we need exciting saying.
Okay. We will definitely explore that. Thank you.
Okay, so you don't want our tagline, huh? Okay.
No, it doesn't, it isn't exciting, we need excitement.
Okay,
Wait a minute.
all right. We'll
We're
have a
going
contest.
from 2-color to 3-color to 4-color, and I can just see the
Yeah,
cost
the
going
costs
boom,
go up,
boom,
up, up, yeah.
This is a vivid color, like yellow and red.
Well,
Red
y'all-
and yellow kill a fellow, and so
Y'all
yellow
would have
and
to,
red.
y'all would have to tell us what you want, because what we were planning on is white with the logo. And even that, I was like, ooh, that's
Dull.
expensive.
That's dull, we need
So-
excitement.
Yeah.
Y'all talk and let us know, we'll be happy to accommodate.
Not
Yeah.
in here.
That's
No
right.
talking.
In a meeting, of course.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, thank you. Oh, yes, we have a
Mr. Chairman, I
question
just
by
had a-
Councilor Rodriguez.
Just had a quick question. What's the life expectancy of one of those casings or piping type of things?
Well, the 2 wells that we replaced were close
50
to
and
50,
47.
50 years old.
And 47
45
years
to
old,
50.
yeah.
So,
They were
you
pretty
know, it's,
bad.
I'm sure they did a great job of the construction of those. So, but typically they say a well can give you anywhere from 30 to 50 years
Thank you.
life.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, Councilor Martinez.
Just out of curious, when they demoed the old wells, did they find any other surprises other than a pipe going through one of them?
Well, that's a very good point, Counselor. They actually told us that the Hebner well was probably very close to having a serious problem, such as a collapse.
We were so lucky.
So we really got our money's worth out of that well, but the casing was in pretty bad shape. The Grass Hill well, they didn't really report much on that one, but they did tell us that it was time to be replaced. That's for sure. The Hebner well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I was just sharing with Councilor Rodriguez, it was former city manager Hank Brummett who came in as an interim.
Yes.
So first thing, he called me like at 9 o'clock at night and said, Mayor, we got to do something about those water wells. And I'm like, okay. I mean, it was just out of the blue. But he had that institutional knowledge and just knew that we had to do something about it. So I thank you, Mr. Brummett.
And a lot of
So-
people complained about doing this, but as we can see, one of them was about probably to go down, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, Dr.
That's what I
Edwards,
said.
that's correct. I think the timing of this was very key, and
Very astute.
so we're in great shape for a long time.
Okay. Well, thank you for that report. I appreciate it. I had requested that, and so I appreciate y'all putting together all the figures. Thank you. Okay. Then we're moving to citizens to be heard. Any residents that would like to address the council at this time, please come forward, or businesses, or, all right. Seeing none, then if there's no objection, we'll move for adjournment at 8:35 p.m. 5:35, 8:35, I'm writing down 8:35 on June the 19th, and we'll stand adjourned. Okay.
Can I touch you?
How are you doing? Super excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I know.